Oh! Have you had a good lunch? Yes. You don't sound as if you've had a good lunch. Have you had a good lunch? Yes! Wow. Now, first thing I'm going to do is to ask you to forgive me. Because what I'm going to do next, you'll see. Now, when Andy asked me to speak, I came prepared. I sat down. For weeks, this has been going round in my head. And I was going to speak to you about the advancement of mobile phones, going this way, and that we don't carry these things with us, because advancement means leaving the old things behind. And yesterday, imagine with me, two brothers, I believe they're here. Raise your hand if you're two brothers in the room. And they said to me at the end of the presentation, how did you, there they are, Malcolm and Paul. And I think it was Paul said to me, how did you forgive her? Now, for those of you who don't know, and for benefit of the filming, I was an abused child. And we came to a head when this Cinderella scenario. I thought, you know what? Sod this for a game of soldiers. I'm not going to be appeasing you anymore. I've had enough of this, because you want to kill me and I want to die. And whoever thought that when you want to die, there's nothing that people can do to you anymore? They've lost everything that they have. And so I had a confrontation with this aunt, and the worm turned. And I'm walking about in the house, all kind of way, trying to force her to kill me. In this type of scenario, you have anger, you have animosity, you have hatred. Eventually, she had to get rid of me, and I left her. I later came to England, foreign to you and I. And I joined my mother. Life has moved on, and I'm here. When someone asks you, how did you forgive? I was always assuming everyone knows how easy it is to forgive, because forgiveness means shedding the past and leaving it where it lay. Sorry for those whose coats I'm chucking on the ground. Imagine with me if I was still in Kingston, in the ghetto of Kingston that is now so devastated, it brought tears to my eyes when I saw the photograph. It's sung about by Bob Marley. It's called Trench Town. And it's worse than a trench town now. The devastation outside in the area was what was inside of me when I left this woman's home. She had effectively tried to destroy a spirit that had come into the world for a purpose that she couldn't see. And once I left, I thought I shed the skin and I moved on. That's a marvelous word. I heard it earlier. I was discussing with Debbie, and she told me about moving on. How do you move on when you bring a burden with you. Every time something happens, it's back. You are here for a purpose. You are here for a future as leaders. Are you going to be going back into your past? Or are you going to shed the skin? Now, you may need a guide. You may need some ideas. Have you been thinking to yourself, I have some issues that I need to put aside, but I don't know how to. I don't know if I can, and I don't know whether I should. I say that if your purpose in life, the bigger that purpose is, the more is going to be expected of you. The more you will have to shed. Because as you head into this bright future that I see for you, you cannot be going backwards to pick up these issues. Now, once we have decided that we don't want to go backwards to pick up the issues, imagine with me a situation when you're a speaker, you're out there, and somebody does something to scrape the scab off a wound that you have not dealt with. I struggled with this subject because I thought I had a great subject. And when I was asked, how did you forgive her? Immediately, last night I didn't sleep. Because I thought, this is not a subject for this audience. You guys are all empowered. That's why you're here. You're all leaders. And yet the subject wouldn't leave me. When I came today and thanked Debbie for the discussion that I had, Deborah, I realized that it is necessary. Now, the how. We all need mentors. And whether we believe it or not, mentors can also be negative people. Miss Adeline was a mentor. I was yay high. I looked up to her. I thought that if I did everything to please her, she would relax and love me. As we go through life, we may have some negative mentors, but we can't keep bringing the experience on because life gives you more experiences, more experiences. So what are you going to do? In my estimation, and I'm going to share this with you, and as I said, please forgive me if I upset anyone. Raise your hand if there has been a situation where from your experience you thought, I am going to hate this if I do it. And raise your hand again if having done that experience, you loved it. And say, I. Now, why was that? You've convinced yourself that something is impossible, that I will never do it, and if I do it, I'm never going to enjoy it. If you've seen children, there's like, I'm not going, you're not gonna make me. And sometimes they even throw themselves on the ground and they won't move. And you have to find persuasion. How do you persuade yourself that forgiveness is an art that needs to be practiced? How do you convince yourself? Therein lies the rub, right? For me, I don't know about you, I'm going to share this. I felt and do feel that forgiveness is self-defense. When you forgive someone, you are protecting your spirit, your heart. It is not just about the person that you forgive. Because many a times, they're not even aware of the offense that they inflicted on you in the past. Every time you meet them, they're cheerful, they're grinning, they're carrying on, and you're thinking, I just want to headbutt you. But of course, in civil society, you don't. However, isn't it annoying that they don't even take on board what they've done? But you're seething inside, and you know that you have to move on. Therefore, exercise forgiveness as self-defense. By looking at it this way, we realize there are things our parents have done, even when you were in the womb, that may be affecting you. But if you exercise forgiveness as a defensive mechanism, it might be something that you're able to put down and never come back and pick it up again. Because forgiveness means all acidic retrospective about that situation can now be thrown away. And you can move into this wonderful future that is yours. So again, I beg your forgiveness if I've upset you. But what I would like to know is that those of you who are here with some wounds that may prevent you from achieving your goal, exercise forgiveness as a means of self-defense. It doesn't let the other person off, but it's not your responsibility how they feel or don't feel. It's your responsibility how you feel. And if you imagine with me someone who is churned up inside every time they see somebody, it may be a mom, it may be a dad, it may be an ex-partner, it may even be a teacher, and you are churned up every time you think of them. Isn't it wonderful if you exercise forgiveness as self-defense and leave them like so many discarded jackets in the past? I'm going to be beaten half sick when I get off this stage by all the guys in the back whose jackets these are. So please welcome to the stage my mentor and a person who has had the faith to make me into a mentor. Has he got any sense? Andy Harrington, our ace.
Althea Clown, thank you very much. Stay there a second. I just want to say, clearly the best line in that entire thing was, they're just walking around, they're smiling, they're feeling good, and all you want to do is headbutt them. Give it up for Althea Grant, thank you very much.